For a while, the Apple TV has felt like a product Apple almost forgot to mention. If you look at the rest of the lineup, it's easy to see why. The iPhone, iPad, and Mac all moved into new eras, while the Apple TV just stayed where it was. The easy conclusion was that Apple gave up on the living room. It seemed they were content letting Roku and Amazon fight over the cheap market while they moved on. But the latest 2026 leaks suggest that may not be the case at all. It's more likely that Apple paused this product to wait for the right moment. A meaningful update needed better silicon, networking, and software to all line up at once. If that's true, the next Apple TV isn't just a maintenance refresh. It is Apple trying to make the product relevant again. The first clue is a timeline. The rumor points to spring 2026, which is unusual for a product like this. If Apple only wanted to swap in a newer chip, a fall release would make more sense. A spring launch suggests something else is setting the pace. The most likely answer is that the hardware is waiting for the software to be ready. I'm somewhat confident in the rumors of new tvOS builds, but the impact of this shift is high. Apple may not want to release a new box unless it can do more than just launch streaming apps faster. If Apple is timing this around AI features and home integration, the next Apple TV is being positioned as a hub rather than an accessory. The most important leak involves the processor. The claim is that the new model gets the A17 Pro. If that turns out to be accurate, it changes the conversation immediately. That sounds like overkill for a set-top box, but it solves several problems. It provides a headroom needed for a faster interface, better gaming, and stronger on-device processing for voice requests. It also changes how the device handles heat. In a phone, a chip like that has tight thermal and battery limits. Inside an Apple TV, it has wall power and more internal space to breathe. Apple can let the chip run in a much more comfortable environment. For the first time in a long time, the idea of an Apple TV console starts to make sense. Now, I still want to be careful here. Gaming on Apple TV has been a rumor for years. Every time it's updated, people expect a real console alternative. But the big games never show up, and most people go back to streaming. I have medium confidence in the gaming angle, but the impact will be high. If the A17 Pro is real, the hardware is no longer the bottleneck. The hard part is getting developers to take the platform seriously. If major titles appear, the Apple TV could finally compete as a credible family gaming box. That shift changes the value. It stops being an expensive streaming stick and becomes a device you can justify for more than one reason. However, the practical upgrades might matter even more, starting with Wi-Fi 7. This isn't just about faster internet. The real benefit is lower latency and better stability when dozens of smart devices are fighting for the same wireless space. If Apple wants this to be a central home hub, Wi-Fi 7 is what makes the experience feel immediate and smooth. Then there's AV1 support. AV1 is a video codec that delivers better image quality using less data. For a 2026 streaming device, hardware decoding for this isn't just a bonus. It's expected. Adding it would bring the Apple TV in line with where YouTube and Netflix are heading. It makes the box more efficient and much more future-proof. When you look at these together, the rumor feels coherent. The A17 Pro handles AI, Wi-Fi 7 handles the home, and AV1 handles the video. These point to a box Apple wants you to keep for years. The next question is the price. There's a medium confidence rumor that Apple may split the lineup into a cheaper entry model and a high-end version. This would solve Apple's long-standing pricing problem. A lower price lets them compete with Roku and Fire TV, while the premium model keeps features like Ethernet, more storage, and better gaming. If this happens, the impact on the market will be high. Now, we need to be cautious about Apple Intelligence. The rumor is that the next Apple TV will use AI for better search and natural voice control. In theory, asking for a family-friendly sci-fi movie and actually getting a good result would be a huge reason to upgrade. But Apple has a lot to prove here. If the features are fast and local, they'll be a game changer. If they're slow or glitchy, people will stop using them in a week. I'm somewhat confident this is coming, but the execution risk is real. There's also a smaller rumor about better communication features. This likely means better support for FaceTime and using the TV as a communication surface rather than a built-in camera. It fits the smart home vision, but it isn't a headline reason to buy. So where does this leave you? If you have the 2022 Apple TV 4K, your box is still great. There's no pressure to move yet, even if the AI features look tempting later. If you're using the older Apple TV HD or an early 4K model, the situation changes. For you, the jump in responsiveness, networking, and voice control will be a massive, noticeable shift. And if you're thinking about buying your first Apple TV today, I'd suggest waiting. The 2026 rumors describe a total lineup reshape, not just a spec bump. With the A17 Pro and Wi-Fi 7 likely on the horizon, it's worth seeing what Apple ships before you spend premium money. My advice for now is to wait. The real test isn't whether Apple can make the box faster. We know they can. The question is whether they are finally ready to explain why the Apple TV matters. If these leaks are right, the answer might be yes.